Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fitness Friday. I am so excited to have our guest on today. We got to chat with her a little bit before her competition, but today we get to have a chat with Bailey Smith about her whole experience doing her competition and just what she thought about it. And I can't wait for her to tell us what place she took and how amazing of an experience it was. But first, of course, I want to just bring on my friend Coach Idris, and here's his intro. And let me introduce you to my friend Coach Idris. He is a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer with 25 years experience. Idris specializes in women's fitness through NASM. He is a nutritional counselor, certified EMT, and LVN. He has worked helping hundreds of clients from high school to professional athletes and housewives to CEOs of companies to achieve their weight loss and fitness goals. He is the former 2002 Mr. USA bodybuilding champion with 20 years of competition experience. He's also an Air Force military veteran where he served in Desert Storm as a combat medic. Everybody help me welcome my friend, Coach Idris. Woohoo!
What's up?
Not much. It's been crazy snowing out here in Utah, so
Yeah, I saw some pictures of y'all skiing. I think y'all was going skiing or something.
yeah, my husband and my daughter have a pass. I didn't get a pass this year because I'm too busy, but I'll go a few times.
How much are those passes?
They're crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's a whole lot just to go on a gondola
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
and,
but
and fall down a mountain.
do you not ski?
I did I skied up in Lake North Star, up in the Reno area.
Yeah.
But in Pennsylvania I skied. So I did a long, long time ago. But falling down hills is I'm too big and I
Well,
make
you don't fall. That's
I
the
make a
problem. Just
I
stay
make
up on your feet.
oh no one told me that. I thought I was supposed to do cartwheels down.
Yeah, once you understand that, then it's a lot more enjoyable of an
Actually, I
experience.
went on the diamond slope and made it all the way down without falling.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was proud of my little self.
Yeah, you know what? I was never awesome. I always snowboarded and I love snowboarding. Like part of Brandon and I dating actually was a lot of snowboarding. But he was so good. Him and his and our friend were so good that I would just try to keep up with him all the time. So
Didn't they
I
say
was
it's
just
easier?
never getting better, you
Didn't they
know?
say it's easier to snowboard? Oh no.
You know, I think it depends on who you're talking to because I haven't tried skiing, so I really don't have an
Yeah, I never
opinion on
tried
that.
snowboarding. Yeah, and I didn't pizza wedge over down the hill either. I actually, I was actually crystalline.
Yeah.
I know the word, it's crystalline.
Nice. No, the crazy thing is that when we moved to Hawaii, I wanted to learn how to surf, and so I kind of already knew how to surf a little bit just because I have a friend in California that taught me. But I wanted to get better, and because we had to move back so quickly, I was like, you know what? If I have to be in this hellhole of snow that I have to live in, then I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. So we just started snowboarding again, and I actually got really like a whole lot better over the past couple of years that we've been back because I actually am teaching my daughter, and just teaching it helps you to learn things a lot better,
Oh, you
right?
think about the details more. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
actually go like this. Wow, I need to do what I'm telling her to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that
Totally.
with you.
And
I do that with you guys. I'll tell your stuff, and I'm like, man, I forgot about that myself.
And I think it's like the slowing down, right? Because I was always trying to keep up with all of my friends that were good. And I finally got an opportunity to slow down and kind of take my skills and take them to the next level. And it's been kind of fun. I wish I had more time to go, but it's
You what? Hey,
one
you're
day.
young. You just work like you're supposed to. You'll be working.
I
I'm the
know,
one that's supposed to be chilling right now, and I'm working my dog.
right? I'll get there one day.
No, I don't think I'm ever going to get.
I don't know if it's something I want, but I'll get there one day. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Did you see you see the cyclone? I mean, I think it's a cyclone that hit Santa Cruz.
Oh, I didn't.
30-foot swales coming over the street into the neighborhoods,
Really?
all the way down the streets. Yeah,
That's
it's
actually
bad.
where Brandon is from, is that Bay Area just over the mountain.
Yeah,
So,
I used to live in the Bay Area for 8 years.
yeah.
So yeah,
Huh.
tell him he'll know the area. Just look at the news. I think it was yesterday or today. It's bad out there.
Yeah. Yeah, Santa
It's like
Cruz is one of our favorite places to visit. We go there every
it's
time.
Santa Cruz.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually did one of my first bodybuilding shows was in Santa Cruz.
Oh, yeah?
1992 or one. Yeah, I took second. I took
Nice.
second at the Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Nice. I'm always really jealous of all those that are playing volleyball out there. Have you seen their volleyball courts out there?
Mhm.
They're pretty
First of all,
awesome.
beach volleyball is hard.
It is, but
It's
it's so much
hard, man.
fun.
Yeah, but it's hard. You gotta be in shape for that. Because your footing is always gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very, very tough sport. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I love it.
I give
Volleyball's
high
my
fives.
favorite. So,
High fives to those guys and gals and girls. Good job.
well, awesome. I'm so excited to bring our guest on, and you guys kind of had a wild ride, a fun experience together going to her competition. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to share with everybody and just see what her results were and just her feelings about the whole thing. So let's welcome Bailey on. Hi, Bailey.
You hear me?
You in the crowd?
Yeah. Oh.
Man, I should have made the same type of intro for you.
Oh no, that's okay.
Supposed to do that like that.
Yeah.
See, first I had to teach you how to pose because the posing was horrible. Now I got to teach you how to, do this.
Like, got it. Got it.
Is that saying thank you to all the judges? Or
Thank you to all my fans.
One guy did give me nucks afterwards. He's like, "Hey, I see you. I saw you up there." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I think everybody did, but thanks, man."
That's funny.
That's good though. Somebody you stood out.
I know. I'm like, way to just call me out. Made me feel good. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. You want a piece of me?
yeah, I doubt it.
Well, that's awesome. So we kind of talked to you guys right before you went on in the show, right? Like, was that hours before or the night before that we chatted?
No, the week
I think it was the week before.
The week before. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She was in no mood the night before. Trust me, she wasn't drinking any water.
I was not feeling so hot.
She wasn't talking to nobody the night before.
Well, tell me about that. What was that all about? Like, was it just your nerves or?
Not necessarily, just whenever we were taking the water out, but eating carbs, I kind of didn't feel great, I should say. Not necessarily because, week wise, like strength wise, I felt a little weaker, but I felt good. I was excited, but I felt drained. And then, too, in my head, I was like, I'm just thirsty. It was all I could think about. It was all I wanted. I was like, I just want to do this so I can drink water. Like, that was really all I cared about. And I could tell if I started feeling like bleh, I would just have to eat. I pretty well ate pancakes and rice cakes for those entire 2 days, that Friday and Saturday. I just had to keep shoveling it. I would be like, oh, because my body too, I felt just used it so fast. So I'd see my veins pop up like, okay, I just ate some carbs. Within like 30 minutes, it's back down. So I'm like, I just got to eat again. Just got to keep eating. But no water makes that a little difficult.
Yeah.
She would text me. I'm like, have some ice chips. I said, I'm gonna tell you, if you drink water, you're gonna mess up 13 weeks.
Yeah, not worth it.
She did. I said, I'm just telling you, you're gonna mess up 13 weeks of work. So because you want it. What did I tell you too? I said the worst part is the drink.
It is the worst part.
The worst part. It's worse than 2 hours of cardio. It's worse than the workout. It's worse than the chicken. It's nothing worse than you can't drink water.
Yes, because I don't think people ever, you can go a while and be like, oh, I'm hungry, or like, oh, I don't feel like eating this. But whenever it's like, you cannot drink this, and then you see it, and then you're watching other people drink it. And then I was like, can I just have an ice cube out of there? Like,
so do you think it was that it was something that was restricted from you? Because I know when I'm like, I'm going to take this out of my diet, all of a sudden I'm seeing it everywhere. And I'm like,
yeah, you want it more.
Was it that, or was it more of like your body just needing that?
I think it was wanting it, but the worst I would say was like first thing in the morning, when you wake up and you're just like, that part, and then taking my pills, like just my normal like vitamin supplement stuff, I would try and just be so careful with the amount of water I was using, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to take these, but like I can't have anything and I can't really wash it down after. So I take a baby sip and then just eat my pancakes and try and like all it down, just as best as you
Pancakes
can.
without water, that'll.
No, it's more physical than it is that you. It's not like you. It's not like when you like Pee Wee Herman when his bike got stolen and now everybody's on a bike. It's not necessarily like that. You seriously are dry mouth.
Yeah. And my lip
to the
chat.
10th degree, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's just your dry mouth, and you got to eat carbs, which are that's why yams are a good idea. That's why I told her to put sugar-free jelly, because it's at least it's moist.
Helps it go down a little bit.
But when you deplete carbs, so you get the body fat down. If you start doing carbs and drink water, you're gonna hold everything you drink, and you're gonna just puff out again. And this is why when I talk about nutrition, this is the only reason that the Atkins diet worked. It's because when you stop eating carbs, your body starts releasing water, but it becomes super sensitive, super sensitive to carbs. So when you start, that's why when people drop weight and then they try to put carbs back in, they gain weight back real quick. So you have to actually be down and live there and not to where she was, it's the contest, but just for normal people, you got to get down to where you want to be, and you got to live there for a while. Because she's been lean for a while. That's why that's why after the contest, she can drink again. How much weight did you rebound?
Well, I didn't actually gain weight until like my first, like probably 3 days. I gained about 5 pounds, which I figured I'm sure water had a lot to do with it.
Well,
but I've only gained
it's all water. It's all water. All weight gain is water, so it's not
all of it. And so now, even at this point, it's like 3 weeks post show. I'm only 8 pounds more than, mind you, I don't look like I did then, but weight wise is really not a huge. I thought I was like, oh, watch me put 15 pounds on in a matter of a week. But it didn't happen. So I've only gained 8 and I've stayed here, and I don't know. It's pretty well where I'm at now.
That's good. And we're going to keep you right there. So that's good.
Yeah, I feel good though. I feel decent. I had, 3 weeks of eating like charcuterie boards with the family and pizza and burgers and champagne. But as of a couple days ago, I'm like, no more. I'm done. I've been ready. Like I got excited making chicken when I meal prepped this week. I was like, my body was just like, yeah, like normal. Like, I don't know. This is my new norm.
She was like, well, I said, because when you eat clean and then you put all that other stuff in, you don't feel the same. It messes with your stomach, the coating in your mouth. It's just different. Most people don't give themselves enough time to change their palate. Okay? Once your palate changes, you don't want a lot of the stuff you used to eat. Like I have a insatiable sweet tooth, but I can do without it for months because I feel better when I eat clean. I feel better. So that's what she's experiencing. She's like eating all of this stuff that she never ate before, and now it's like, this don't feel like this ain't going down the same.
Doesn't feel right.
Good, but I feel heavy and I feel thick. Right?
But some stuff I feel doesn't even taste as good as I remember it being. I'm like, this isn't really worth the calories. Or like, eating some things, I'm like, okay, this really wasn't worth it. Like I don't actually miss that like I thought I did. Certain things like that. Cheese, I still love cheese, but
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Who doesn't like cheese?
I actually kind of had a similar experience because I kind of, for 1 week, like my husband, he's like, I'm going to give you this whole week just to like eat whatever you want. And then we're going to hit it really hard for my goal. Right. And I'm like, okay. So during the Christmas time, like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat some of my favorite foods. Like we even made some extra treats and it was awesome. But I actually couldn't wait to get back to the way I was eating before because I'm just like, okay, now I feel crappy and I
what do I do now?
Right?
And here's the thing that people don't notice. They don't realize that you feel like that every single day when you eat like that all the time. And I always tell people, you don't know how crappy you feel until you feel good.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh my God, I was tired all the time. I didn't want to do anything. I was sitting on the couch all the time. Like you start noticing what you used to do. And until you get in shape, you'll never know that. Like once I got in shape, I was like, man, I'm doing way more. I sleep less. I'm more productive at work. I feel better about myself. Like just how I feel about myself is better. My self-esteem is higher because I'm taking care of myself. I mean, I was talking to a woman today, and I'm like, looks is a byproduct of exercise. To me, that's a side effect. It is. Everything else for women, especially for women. Okay, when you get over 50 years old, your bones are going to get porous. One out of two women break a bone over 50 because their bones get porous because of menopause. Lifting weights prevents that. Okay, not the cardio. Lifting weights. Look it up. I don't say nothing that you can't look up. But seriously, it also it can prevent dementia. It can prevent Alzheimer's. It keeps your metabolism up because over 50, women's metabolism, over 40, women start slowing down. Over 50, men start slowing down. So many things that it helps you with that have nothing to do with looks. But at the end of the day, you are going to look better. Also, when you get older, I have had a lot of people when they get into their 70s, they've come to me, well, I'm getting older. I don't want to lose my balance. I'm like, you don't lose your balance because you get older. Otherwise, you'd never see a 90-year-old running a marathon. I see that all the time. I go, you lose your balance because you get weaker, just like a baby. An infant can't walk either until they get stronger. Then they can walk, right? You lose your strength. So lifting weights is way more than just looks.
Well, too, it's been a crazy process for me because it took me like a couple of weeks to a couple months to where I was actually where I wanted to be, right? And then I kind of ate everything that I wanted for like a whole week, and I did gain weight, right? But the crazy thing for me was how after going right back to my eating program and my lifting weights, it dropped way quicker than it did before. And I think that's the most incredible thing that I've experienced with everything that I've been doing, is because a lot of people don't realize how important the lifting of weights is and what it can do for you. And that's the major thing that changed for me, was just having built more muscle and creating a better metabolism, right?
Okay, that's what I did with your sister. Like when your sister, when you asked me that question, and we'll let Bailey, I don't want to let this go because it's important. But like when Bailey, basically, she asked me some questions about. She goes, there's a person. It was her sister, but she didn't tell us her sister. She goes, we have a listener.
Hey, don't call her out.
We have a listener. And I actually posted it today in my group, but that she said the doctors told her that her metabolism is so screwed up because of all the dieting throughout the years that she has a slow metabolism. She's stuck with it. And it's never going to change. And I was like, wow. I would never tell somebody. That is the most daunting thought. How could you tell somebody that, right?
That's messed up.
Especially since it wasn't even true. So I explained that on the show, and then her sister calls me, and then finally, like after the second or third day we worked out, oh, by the way, I was the one she was and I was like, oh, you're the one. So I said, okay. So I said, look, the deal is this: as our hormones change as we get older, we lose the ability to burn calories. That's why a child, people say, when I was young, I could eat anything. Yeah, because we're full of growth hormone, we're full of testosterone. Everything is great. Once you get past 18, 19 years old, and our hormones start to balance off, and then we get in the 30s and 40s, they start to taper down. So now it's not that you're any different. It's not that you're necessarily eating any different. You're changing. You don't burn calories the same because of your hormones. So either you supplement with hormones or you build muscle, because muscle burns calories 24/7, even when you sleep. That's why you felt that. That's why this time, as soon as you stopped eating, off your normal eating pattern, your muscle just got rid of it. And that's why at 57, when I got sick, Billy, what did I lose when I got sick? In 10 days?
18 something pounds.
18 pounds. Just because I couldn't eat. So and see, that's why when people say, I got to work out, I got to exercise to lose weight. I'm like, no, you don't. You can lose weight without ever going to the gym. But you're losing muscle.
Yeah.
You ain't losing fat. You're losing muscle because muscle needs stimulation to hang around. Fat doesn't. Fat's just laying back with his feet up. Okay? So you can actually lose weight and slow your metabolism down at the same time because you're losing muscle. That's why lifting weights at the same time as you diet is essential to maintain a metabolism, because you're going to lose the weight, but you're also going to lose your metabolism. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you brought that up. But that's why all that happened. This is all about science, guys. This is not hocus pocus. This ain't, people go by hocus pocus too much. And no, you need to go by actual science and what the body does with food and how insulin works, how sodium affects you, how cortisol levels affect you, how estrogen affects you. All of this stuff is what I did with Bailey. I just, okay, we got to control estrogen. We got to control this. We got to put a lid on cortisol, everything, put a lid on it. So, because there's 10% of water's coming from here, 10% is coming from there, 15 might over here. Most people just address exercise and nutrition. They never address any of the other stuff. And that's that. And that's a problem in my industry. There's so much more going on, but they try to simplify it down to a pill. Or you see these knuckleheads talking about, you don't have to exercise. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to, but you're going to lose all your muscle losing weight if you don't. Are you telling them that?
Well, I think it's kind of crazy because we all want this like magical fix, right? Like everybody's just like, oh, I want this pill. I want this new fad diet. I want this and that, right? But I think the most beautiful thing about understanding that whole process and being able to speed up your metabolism is that is the magical pill. That is the magic that you can find when you actually understand it. And all of a sudden, I didn't have to work as hard when I started eating right because I magically have this better metabolism that's going to work for me. And I think that's the magic that like everybody needs to learn and understand.
Right.
That's the magic. And people, like you said, people want quick fixes. This woman I was talking to, she showed me this link to this, I think Wegovy or something like that. And she was like, well, I'm struggling. And she goes, this is what somebody's recommending. The first sentence was, could cause cancer and heart problem. I'm like, why would you take something that could cause cancer? So you're willing to risk cancer to lose weight. That's how desperate people feel. And I get it. But a lot of times people just don't know who to go to because there's a lot of fakes out there. A lot of bad trainers on the line, trust me. And I get it. I've had people say, I work with a trainer, nothing happened. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's not happening over here.
That was me.
And I'm not paying, I'm not reimbursing you for that guy. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so people, they want the quick fix so the weight is gone, but they're not considering what they're losing when they lose the weight, and they're losing their metabolism. Basically, when you lose muscle, you lose your metabolism. That's basically what you're doing. And which means you're going to gain weight easier the minute you go back to anything that you were eating before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's been just such an incredible process. And even like hearing Bailey with you and just the 8 pounds that you gained back or whatever, right? Like that's getting you to like a good weight for you. And you get to finally like be at the place where you want to be. And
exactly. She could just maintain that. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the most amazing part about it. Because I've had a lot of people message me and they're just like, oh, what are you going to do after you reach your goal? And I'm like, I'm going to be fit for the rest of my life. That's what I'm going to do.
Another one. I'll make another goal. What do I want to do next?
Because most people pick a number goal, and you're not picking a number goal. You're picking a feeling. I want to feel a certain way, and I want to look a certain way. I don't care what I weigh. I want to look a certain way and feel a certain way. Whatever the scale says, it happens to say. What did I tell you, Bailey, when we first started? And I was trying to get her to do a contest from the day I met her, and it wasn't because of anything other than she had that kind of drive. Anyone who does CrossFit is a nut. That is a hard thing to do. So I'm like, well, I know she got what it takes to do it. Because if you do CrossFit, you're a pretty tough cookie.
I do like it. I like the ruggedness. Well, like lifting weights in general. I like that. Just like, I like to work with my hands. I'm in construction. Like, that's just what I like to do.
So I knew she could do it, but I also knew she had no idea because CrossFit does not know anything about dieting. Because it's not about your look, it's about your performance.
Yeah.
Just like powerlifting, it's about
100%.
performance. Bodybuilding and physique is about your looks. So you have to perform and you have to create a look. That's why I know a lot of powerlifters that we all had our powerlifters and bodybuilders have our little,
They like butt heads.
little butt heads. And it's like, oh, you little girlies, y'all getting up on stage and flexing your little underwear. And I said, that's okay. I can take my shirt off though.
You're like, wait, let me show you.
Oh, shut up. So we go back and forth in fun though, but that's the main difference is in physique, you have to eat right. You have to eat right because I don't care how much you lift. You will never, Bailey, tell them.
You'll never, it'll doesn't matter.
I want her to, and I'm going to let her speak. What have you learned? Like I told you at the beginning, this is not about winning the show. This is about what? You learning
learning my body and being my best, like coming up to what my body is capable of being my best. Like all of my work I put in was, I don't think I could have done anything else. I mean, dang, I didn't cheat meals. I didn't miss cardio. I didn't miss lifts. Like it was just, unless I was sick, and then that still is a whole mental thing in itself. But it's just a matter of just doing what you need to do, I guess. And I think having that drive towards the end is a little bit harder, only because you're getting a little more tired, but you still have like the end is near, you know what you're going for. And I was happy with where I was. And I think that's honestly too, and not off topic, but even getting on stage, I think that was the only thing, because everyone told me like, you looked calm, like you looked confident. And I think the only reason was because right before I got on, when I was waiting back there, I just deep breathed and I was like, this is my best. I did all I could possibly do. Like, I feel good about what I'm bringing to the stage, and that's all there is to it,
See, and she wasn't doing that for.
I wasn't doing that at the beginning at all.
She was driving me nuts. I kept saying, you're going to be your best. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
So don't take any shortcuts. I said, if you don't take any shortcuts, you will not be disappointed in yourself. Trust me. And I
did feel good. I felt good.
It took you to the 12th hour.
Took me literally till right when I walked up, when I was like, ooh, okay.
But I'm glad you did, because she did. She was smiling. I didn't know she was nervous. Well, that's not true. I knew she was nervous, because I'm nervous.
I was nervous.
I'm nervous every single time I go. Even now, I've been doing this forever and I'm still nervous. But if you prepared, you still handle your business, even if you are nervous. 100%. So yeah, she did great. I'm very proud of her, and I just wanted her to learn. I wanted her to see herself at her absolute best, and she did. And that's what. And
I don't think I would have done that without doing the competition too, because I will say it did take some convincing. Because I was like, I don't know, and still I was weird. I was about, I'm like, oh, but I'm gonna be like half naked, and you just so get over all of that, and you're like, this is what I got, shoulders, and I feel like even the way I look at it now is totally different. Because again, coming from kind of a CrossFit standpoint, me and all my buddies now are like, oh yeah, bodybuilding, like, oh yeah, CrossFit, we like go back and forth with it. But in the same aspect, they're like, whoa, like you looked crazy. And to them, like, even I feel like to bring knowledge to my group of friends now too about it, where it's not like I'm on stage half naked. It's like, oh, but look at the delts and the quads and the abs and the this, and like really picking apart the body to where now even my buddies will like see me in the gym and they'll do one of these. They'll be like, hey, you see my tray? Like, hey. And I'm like, get out.
That's cool. But I went through the same thing. I went through this. Everything you're saying, that happened to me 30 years ago. Yeah. I was like looking at bodybuilders. Oh, I'll never do that. And then one day I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, this isn't about being in underwear. This is about you learning how to eat, learning how to train, challenging yourself every single day to be better. 100%. And it transfers into other parts of your life, by the way, because you start being better at your marriage. You start being better at your job. You start being, because you realize you're more than what you've been putting out there.
100%.
You're way more than what you've been putting out there. So this is about self-esteem building. This is about confidence. Is your self-esteem better?
Oh, way better. Way better.
Very insecure.
Haley last year would have never gotten on a bikini
stage. I was very insecure.
That was going to be my question for you, is if you would get up on stage a year ago compared to now. Because not very many of us like to be up on stage, center of attention, But when you get to that point where you're like, okay, and it's not just about like, I look awesome, I want everyone to see me. It's like, I accomplished this. I am at this level. Yeah, like there's let's bring up some of the pictures from.
And remember, I didn't force her to do it. I brought it up a couple times. And because I knew as she started to, basically when she started seeing her six pack come in, she started talking different.
I was like, maybe we can't do this.
Yeah, she brought it up because I brought it up a couple of times, and I was like, I don't want to force you to do it. But I think it'll benefit your life, period, forever.
And it did. 100% it did.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit, Bailey, and how, like, what changes have you seen? I know we kind of talked about that before, but, just what have you seen as the biggest changes, especially after having done the competition now?
So are you saying from last year to comp wise or from
Yeah,
comp to
just
now?
like
Well,
through,
as you as a person, personal growth.
yeah.
Oh, personal growth. One, I think like my time management, and I don't want to say like laziness, but my drive to have better time management because I don't have an option to like, oh, on the way to work, I'll stop and grab this. Like, no, I have to have breakfast made, lunch made, two lunches made actually. And, if I end up being gone for dinner, I need to have dinner made. So it's like, honestly, I think the biggest life changing part, besides just like my confidence and my actual feelings, but skill set wise, would be, yeah, my time management and just the dedication and drive to knowing what I need to get done and what I need to do in order to get those things done.
And she had a
I don't
couple of
have much
times
of
where
that.
she went on appointments, and she told me, she was like, I didn't eat today because I went on this appointment and I thought I'd be back and I'd have food. And I was like, if you have your food with you, it doesn't matter when you get
Wouldn't have to worry about it.
back. And I
Because
had to
I
learn, I
drive
had
for
to learn
work.
that too. But these are things that
Yeah.
because I've done all of this stuff, I'm waiting for these. I'm waiting for these moments so I can just educate.
Yeah, teaching moments.
Because with her, I will tell you what's going to happen. This is how you're going to feel 6 weeks.
Florian happens.
This is how you're going to feel. Just so she's ready for it. So when it happens, it's not. It doesn't blindside her.
Yeah, I went a couple times without actually having my food with me, and it happened, yeah, about 2 times. I'm like, never again. I will never not be prepared. I'd rather have too much food than no food. So that was just a huge thing for me. And even now, I don't go to the gym without like a protein drink just in case. Like there's just so many different things that it's changed the way I do my everyday data, like life, I should say.
Yeah, I think too, the crazy thing is like I have a lot of people come to me and they're like, well, food prep is just, it takes too much time and it's too much effort and it's too much, right? In reality, actually, just like what you're saying, it actually frees up a lot of your time because all of a sudden you're not
Oh,
spending
yeah.
2 hours every single day
Saves you
cooking a
time.
meal,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And it saves you
yeah.
money. And it saves you
Yeah.
money.
Mhm.
Like I would cook on Sundays and Wednesdays. That was
That's
it.
exactly what I do. Yeah, Sundays and
Sundays and
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. And all my other stuff was prepared. Now, how is that worse? It's not.
It's
Yeah.
not, it's just doing it all at once. And I think people get overwhelmed with the thought of like, I have to cook all this food and make all these meals, but you get so used to it. And it's so much easier going in the fridge and having a meal rather than being like, what am I going to eat? And then end up grabbing, crap out of there.
Anything.
It's just,
Yes.
yeah, instead of grabbing
You're
anything,
you're
you
eating
have what you
exactly what
need.
you're saying. And the mental part of it, I can't stress enough. When you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you feel so good about yourself. You
Mhm.
miss a meal or you eat something you ain't supposed to, you don't feel good about it. And this is a problem that people don't pay attention to. You eat when you're depressed and depression makes you eat. So it's this big cycle that happens. So you want to eliminate that because then you start having multiple failures back to back to back. And the more you fail, the more you start to doubt yourself. The more you succeed, the more you start to feel good about yourself. So what I did with her is I was like, I got to give her a lot of succeeding, a lot of success. So when we first started training, 6 pounds before we even started, she dropped. And then I saw how weak she was in push-ups. I'm like, you do CrossFit? You can't. So I was like, okay, we got to fix that. Then
And I still couldn't ever do a pull-up. My entire life, I have tried to do pull-ups my entire life, and I did not get one until Idris, like 6 months ago.
So now but how many push-ups did you do in that little contest show did? 100?
I did a lot.
She couldn't do any when we started.
I did. I don't even know how many, but yeah, beforehand, not happening. I'd do like 10. I'd be like, all right, that's all I got.
What's funny is I actually had a friend that she was the girlfriend of a friend of mine, right? And she was oh my gosh, what were we just talking about? CrossFit. She was, sorry, I couldn't think of the word, but she was doing CrossFit and she was competing and she was just built and amazing, right? And I grew up around like 3 brothers. So I was like constantly having arm wrestles with my brothers. And I was even doing push-up competitions like as a young kid with my older brother, right? And the funny thing is one day she was like, I was talking to her about how good I was at arm wrestling, and she's like, "Oh, I bet I could beat you." And I'm like, "Well, you probably can, but I don't know, let's try. Let's do this, right?" So we decided to have this arm wrestle competition, and I totally killed her in it. And I was like, "Woo!" Like, here's me, like I was just new to CrossFit, right? And here she was, like this person that goes and competes, right? Yeah, she never talked to me again after that. Like, she just hated me
Can
after
you say
that.
salty? Can you say a little salty?
Yeah, right?
She's holding
And
water.
I
She's holding a lot of water.
That's hilarious.
but
I
it
can
was
see that.
On a high sodium diet.
I can see that.
But it's funny because, like, she was a CrossFitter, and then I found out, like, she wasn't great at doing push-ups either, and I was just like, "That's kinda strange," right? Here she is going to all these competitions, and those were things that she wasn't great at, you know? But it was just
Yeah.
funny that she thought she could beat anyone, anytime, you know?
The
Like,
only
I'm
reason
strong.
is if you're not doing CrossFit as a professional. Okay, the professional CrossFit people are no joke.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the other muscles have to be strong to do push-ups, not just your
Mhm.
chest. Your triceps have to be strong and your shoulders. So I told her, we got to get other muscles stronger
Mhm.
and your core before you're ever going to be able to do push-ups. Same
Yeah.
thing with lunges. Like a lot of people want to do lunges. I had a client that wanted to do lunges right away, and I'm like, "You're not ready for lunges." But she kept bugging me because she see women doing. I'm like, "You're not ready for it." So one day I was like, "Okay, you want to do them? How are we going to do them?" She did like 5. She's like, "I can't do them." I go, "Oh no, we're doing them."
We are now.
I made her do a full workout. She was sore for 7 days. She's like, "Okay, I'll listen from now on." I go, "Thank you. I told you you
Yeah.
weren't ready for them." Because certain muscle groups require you to have strong. It's called antagonistic muscles. You have to have the opposite muscle as strong as the muscle you're trying to work. So people don't know this. This is the science about lifting weights. Why a lot of people have they're unsuccessful in the gym. It's because it's not just going there and wing it around and throw the weight around. There's actually a way to lift. There's a proper
Mhm.
way to lift to not get hurt and get the most out of your workout. She was doing 6 days a week and wasn't losing weight. I dropped you to 3 as soon as we started, and she
Yeah.
lost 10 pounds because she was doing too much. Because the
Oh
body's not.
yeah, I was doing CrossFit like every day, 2-3 hours a day, just
Oh, a morning session and then like
in
an
an
afternoon
afternoon.
session.
Yeah.
What are y'all
Wow.
doing? I said, your body's not resting at all. Like,
And I think that was a huge part is I was sore every single day. Like every single day. And yeah, that's what I looked like doing CrossFit. But I mean, mind you, I'm not upset with it, but like not, it wasn't where I wanted to be. Especially when I'm working that hard every single day. And it's like it
and you're not
becomes frustrating.
and
Like,
you're
why
not
do I not have
changing.
this? Why
Like
do I
you
not
don't
have
mind
that?
the work if you're changing. You don't mind
Yes.
the work if you're getting stronger. I always tell
Yeah.
people something has to be changing. If your look isn't changing, then you should be getting stronger. If your strength isn't changing, you should have more endurance. Something should be
Mhm.
getting better. And if nothing's getting better, then you're probably doing something wrong. And you need to start and you need to stick with a workout for about 3 months. If you don't get what you want out of it in 3 months, you have to change it. You have to change it now. What to change it to? That's the question, right? Do I change
Yeah.
to volume training? Do I do high rep, low rep, intermittent? Like there's all these styles of training. Like today it was so funny. There's this guy asked a question, and these people he's giving them 1,000 different. I said, this is not a good question to ask. You know, my upper chest. He said, my upper chest isn't growing. What do I do? He got like 20 different answers. I'm like, good luck with that. Which one are you going to pick? I go, none of these people are asking you what you currently are doing. None of these people are asking your age. None of these people are asking you what you're eating. None of they nothing. They're just saying, oh, do this and do that and do this and do that. I'm like, none of these people are asking him any questions about where he is right now. So he says to me, I just began a year ago. A year? Oh God, okay. And you think you should have some big chest in a year? So it's a lot of people don't realize their goals and their expectations are a little too lofty for where they are. Not that you can't get there one day. I didn't take her to competition in a day. First, I got the body fat down. Then I trained her brain to push harder.
Yes.
Then I trained her brain to push harder, to push through plateaus. Then the food stuff. You got to break it up in increments. You can't just throw it all at somebody. So I took her from one place, and as I started seeing her get more mentally tough, first it was the alcohol.
Yeah. For
Then
me,
it was,
quit drinking took a lot too.
then it was the cheese.
Then it was the cheese.
We did, what's happened, Bailey? She goes, she got stuck. She got stuck. She wasn't moving because everybody knows about plateaus. but nobody knows how to break them. Okay. So she gets to a plateau and she's like, I said, what are you eating? And she's telling me, I'm like, can we take the I said, what's on your salad? Well, I put grated cheese. I'm like, can we take the cheese out?
I was like, no.
Because it's something that you feel like you have to have, right? It's like me.
Yeah,
and
that was like my
cheeseburger.
really like only thing. I don't want to say only thing, but like the thing I looked forward to. Like at least I got some cheese, you know.
So do you remember what happened?
I lost weight. I sure
She was,
did.
she was stuck, right? And she goes, I said, just humor me. If nothing changes, we can put it back in.
So
3 days
annoying.
later, she dropped 5 pounds.
Yeah, it was so annoying. I'm like, I was really hoping this didn't work.
She goes to me, she goes, I lost 5 pounds. I was hoping it didn't work.
Yeah. I wanted to keep my cheese.
I was like, so you were wishing you didn't lose weight.
Yeah, right. How bad is that?
Oh, that was so funny. I was like, you're the first person I know that was wishing you didn't.
And I was like, I was hoping it'd be something else, like the tomatoes, you know? I don't know.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. That's so funny.
Yeah, well, if taking cheese out can make you look like this, then that's awesome.
I was stoked. It felt good. I definitely don't look like that right now. I think that was gone as soon as I got off stage. I chugged like a gallon of water, and I was like, "Well, there goes my abs." But they're still there a little bit.
Yeah, did you really see that big of a change, right, from drinking water like really
I
fast
felt
like
it
that?
in my like the bottom of my stomach. I could immediately like feel it, and so my abs is what I felt wasn't as like predominant as they were, I should say, right before. But
Mhm.
even the next day, I still felt like I looked great. It wasn't until probably like 3 days after, yeah, when I was like, okay, I'm really like
What
losing
happened? And
definition.
what and the science behind that is, and this is why taking your carbs down. Carbs make you hold water. They give you energy, but they make you hold water. So when she's carb loading, once I try to pull as much water off of as I can, when she's carb loading, if she drinks water, her body's gonna hold it, and it's gonna cover. It's called a film. It's gonna put a film over you. You won't be able to see the muscle. She was still lean. She still had this underneath. It's just water was starting to cover it. So you have to.
It's softer.
So as long as you don't drink water, you can eat carbs forever. Only now the thing is now you have all these carbs and you waiting for water. They're all sitting there going, I know the day. So the next day you drink all this water, and now your body, before you're peeing all the time, now you ain't peeing hardly at all, right? You're holding on to everything.
But I was sweating. Oh, the whole eating carbs thing is so true. My body trying to burn them. I would be like mid-meal, like pouring sweat.
Because
no one else
your metabolism speeds up when you're like that. You start eat these carbs without water.
That was wild.
It's pretty
Really?
wild.
I've never heard
really
about that
wild.
before. That's pretty intense. That's crazy.
What like crazy? I'm like, is this gonna be every time I eat now? But it wasn't.
It's only when you're that lean when that happens, and that's how you know you're really lean, because soon as you eat it, your body starts burning it. Soon as you eat it, but when you're drinking water, that doesn't happen. Your body holds it, holds all the water, puts the carbs. So the carbs are all in the muscle, and also the science part of this is when you're carb loading. Every time you eat carbs and insulin gets secreted and pushes the carbs into the cells, it takes any water that's around it, pulls it in the muscle, and that's how the muscle fills out. So it makes your skin thinner as it's pulling water out of your skin into the muscle. So that's why this is not so cut and dry as 1,200 calorie diet. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You don't even know how many calories you burn. How are you gonna do 1,200 calories as if you know you burn 1,200? You know how hard it is to burn 1,200 calories? It's pretty hard to do. But if you have muscle, it's not so hard to do.
So
I burn 2,000 calories at rest just because of my muscle. See what I mean?
Wow.
But if I didn't have that body, if I didn't have the muscle, that wouldn't be the case.
So how far before the competition day do you have her start doing the carb loading without the water?
She has to be to the point where she's not peeing as much. So I would ask her, how often are you peeing? First, it's like every 3 hours. Then it's 2 hours. Then it's 40. Once it's down to like 45 minutes and she's just going, and I'm sorry, she's peeing because she's drinking gallons of water up
That
until
week, like the week before, was a gallon a day.
like Sunday was a gallon, Monday was a gallon, then Tuesday was a half a gallon, Wednesday was a quarter, and then it was nothing. It's up until Thursday afternoon. Thursday at noon, I said you can drink about a quart till noon, and then that's it. So we flood the system with water, so you're peeing all the time. But then the next day you start peeing less and less and less. And the pee gets kind of orange because there's no water. Then you can start carving out. So it's not really a time, it's what the body's telling me to do. And that's what all diets are. A real person doing a real nutrition person is not just giving you something to do. They're telling you why they're doing it. This is what's going to happen when you eat this. This is what's going to happen when you do that. And now you make your decisions off of what's going to happen to you when you eat. So you can still enjoy foods. You just like, I know, okay, if I'm going to be out late and we're going to hang out, I can do some carbs because I'm going to be up for another 4 or 5 hours. But I don't want to go to bed on them. So I'm not going to eat a certain way before I go to bed. Where in the morning, when I have all day to burn the carbs, I do my carbs. You see what I mean? So it's really about knowing what the food is doing and making all your food decisions off of what your needs are at the moment. And that's kind of what I wanted to teach her. I tell her, I said, she didn't feel this way, and I get it. But I was like, I don't really care if you win or not. I said, I just want you to be your best and feel good about it and know you did your best. If you win, that's just a perk. Because bodybuilding shows are about who shows up. Okay? If you stand next to somebody that's better than you, you losing no matter how good you are. So you can't be there. You can't go into it thinking you're going to win. You got to go in it just to do your best. And then when you do your best, you did not. And what did she do? Right after the show, she was like, "Oh, I'm going back. Oh, I'm going back. I'm going to get this. We're going to fill this out. We're going to do this." I was like,
So Bailey, how was it? Was it intimidating being able to like be around those other bodybuilders and know that you're going to be standing on stage around them? Like, tell me your thought process for that.
It was more so like the night before when they're doing check-in, and then it's kind of funny. Again, like I always compare, because in CrossFit, everyone's in like sports bras and spandex, just like half naked. And then I walk in this room and everyone's like full on hooded, like no body parts showing but their hands. And I was like, okay, this is a totally different environment. So it's weird because I didn't actually know what anybody looked like. Everyone was just in sweat. So I'm like, all right, like, here we go. I don't know what to expect, but it was wild because also it was the biggest show in America. Thank you, Idris, for not telling me that till they said it like day of. There was 300 competitors and 711 like event entries. So a lot of people. But I wasn't as intimidated then, more so just nervous because I didn't know exactly what was going on. Like just as far as, okay, check in and weigh in and all this stuff. And it was more so the next day whenever I went backstage, and then I see everyone back there like getting pumped with the bands, and like they've got pillows and blankets, and there's just like people everywhere, like laying all over the place. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I had no idea what to expect. But that was when I kind of was like, okay, that girl looks really good. Like, that girl looks really good. Like, oh, that girl looks really good. But also it was different because I was probably one of the youngest ones. I'm not going to, at least in my division, because everyone else was a little older than I was. And so a lot of the bikini divisions, wellness divisions, those were all young girls. But in the physique division, I was the youngest one out there. So I'm like, okay, some of these girls are real big, but it was cool. I guess I wasn't as intimidated as I thought I was going to be, because just once I'm in, I guess that mindset of being like, okay, this is what we got to do. It kind of just was what it was at the time. And so it's just kind of step up and do what you got to do. So it wasn't necessarily being nervous once I was in it, or intimidated, I should say. It was just like, okay, kind of like a head down, like I know what I need to do.
Yeah, it's a weird, I went through that many times. And the first time I did a national show, I had just won the Sacramento. And 2 weeks later, I'm doing the Nationals in Atlanta, and I'm in a pump-up room with guys I've been reading in Muscle Magazine articles for like the last 5 years. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, you're like, well,
that would be crazy intimidating, I think.
Man, these guys are like the top guys. Yeah, they're the top guys on the national level. So I was actually sitting in the back, and I just was kind of just standing there, like, okay, Idris, you can. Everybody's like oiling up, and I'm like, I don't know how to oil up. I don't do nothing. That's true. I knew how to oil up, but I didn't. I was just like, oh my god, Aaron, oh my god, So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, so I take my. Aaron goes, come on, Idris, we got to get ready. So I start getting ready. I start putting the oil on, and I start posing, and he goes, I think he knew. He goes, you're ready.
Aww.
I
freaking am.
No, I didn't do that. but it just made me go, okay, then go out there. If this is what you got, and I took fourth. My first time took fourth in the country. So I know what it feels like to go back there and be intimidated. But then after a while, but once you do it a few times, you start realizing, look, there's always a chance of somebody being more complete. I don't want to say better than you, because it's not anybody's better than you. It's just more complete. And that's why now we have these pictures and we have our comparisons. Now I'm going to detail out the rest of her body, and I'm going to say, okay, if we bring your shoulders out, it'll make your waist look smaller. If we bring this out, it's going to make your waist look smaller. Because everything is an hourglass on a bodybuilding stage. Every pose is supposed to be an hourglass. Like, see her elbows in this picture, then her waist, then her legs. High, middle, out. Everything is like that. Every pose is like that. So when the judges are looking, they're looking for symmetry. That means all the muscles are balanced out. The calves and the arms are about the same size in circumference. The waist and the thighs are about the same size in circumference. See, that's why judging, when you understand it, you know what judges are looking for. You just give them what they're looking for. So what we're going to do with her is we're going to fix some of the things that took her symmetry off. But I told her this too. I said, we don't even know what you got yet. So let's get the body fat off so I can see what your body looks like and get you the best I can get you lean, get rid of all of that fat that you never got rid of. Because it's still baby fat if you haven't gotten this lean before. So next time you do a show, you'll start leaner.
Yeah.
You'll be leaner before you even, she's going to be leaner just going in. So now we're going to work on some weaknesses so that we're going to do the Muscle Beach. We're going to go to California. You got to go with us. We're going to do the beach July 4th weekend. A friend of mine puts this contest on, so we're going to go out to that. Go to Venice Goals, so we can go see my picture at the Mecca. But I want to go out there, and hopefully we stay out there a few days and do some other stuff. I lived out there for about 14 years, so I want to go have some fun with everybody. And
be awesome.
Yeah, so you and Brandon need to go. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that'll work out. That would be a lot of fun.
Oh, it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
So Bailey, tell everybody like how you place, like what your thoughts about that and everything. So
I got first in my class, and then I got second overall. So I was pretty happy with it.
That's awesome. That's amazing for your first competition.
I was happy. And the girl too, I guess. And it was funny because in our back poses, and that was one of the things I told Idris. I'm like, I got to work on my glutes, because this girl, the girl I got the second overall with, she had like striations in her butt. And I don't want to say she made me look like a shrimp, but she was definitely like twice my size. So I was like, we got some work to do.
She was also taller. She was
taller and just a bigger frame.
She was a bigger person, right.
She was just a bigger person. So us side by side, though, I was like, I just looked like a shrunken frame.
That's why I tell everybody, like a lot of clients, like when I was competing and I would take third or whatever, they'd be like, oh my God, that's great. Aren't you happy? I'm like, I ain't do all that work for third.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I'll take it because that's all I got. But I ain't happy with it. No, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah. It was fun though. It was honestly, and like I said too, I thought I was going to be so nervous, but after just before you go up the steps up there, I could see like, they have kind of where the DJ booth is and where the TVs are, like whatever they're live streaming and stuff. So the girls that were on before me, I was just sitting there and I was watching like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Like, okay, they're just going out there, like doing what I know I need to do. And then when I got out there though, this was for the pre-judging part. I stood there because I was waiting for my music to come on, because you only get 30 seconds at prejudging, whereas the routine, you get your full 60 seconds. So I was standing there and I was waiting and smiling. And I'm like, my music's not coming on. And I waiting and I was smiling. And then finally the judge was like, go ahead. And I'm like, oh, I'm just posing not to my music. Like, okay, got it. And so I went and I got off stage and Lex, my partner, she was like, I thought you froze. I was like, no, I was waiting for my music.
I was like this. Is the Wi-Fi good in here?
She's like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? I was like, I was waiting for my music. It never turned on.
I was looking at her like this. What is he waiting for?
I'm sure everyone was just like, why is
But
she just
look at her
standing there?
smile. She smiled. Other people up there, like people look like they're mad up there. She was smiling.
Yeah, I was smiling, just ready to go. And then I was like, oh, okay, go ahead, do my thing, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that was funny.
Now I know they don't play your routine music in prejudging.
Note to self.
Duly noted. Won't make that mistake
So I
next
sat
time.
there and I go like this. I said, you didn't notice that? Like the 30 people that came before you?
No, not at all.
She was
Over
in
my
the
head.
zone. She was
Yeah,
like
I was
ready
thinking
to
about
make it
so
happen.
many other things.
So Bailey, I kind
Like,
of
really,
heard
I
you.
was thinking about water.
Yeah, I was just like, when can I drink water? No.
So I heard you say a little bit throughout the show that you are thinking about doing another one then, yeah?
I think so, especially after doing it and then seeing the pictures and being like, okay, I felt great, but now, yeah, I like want to make my shoulders rounder and I want better glutes and hammies. Like just seeing all the things. And after being in the environment in my head, I'm like, I can do this. Like I can do it. I think I can do it, which now I just need to go on the gain and get more muscle. And so I'm actually really excited for kind of the next stages of training to kind of see what that's like now that I've at least had that experience kind of going into it. But
And
yeah,
one of
I
the
think I
reasons,
will.
honestly, I want her to do it, people who get into understanding food and exercise at a young age, I did at 20, you know, you end up living your entire life that way.
Mhm.
And what does everybody say when you start to get like my age? God, you look so young for your age. I'm like, I've always looked young for my age, except when I was 3 probably. But it's because I started doing this 40 years ago. So
Mhm.
if you're eating a certain way and you're exercising for 40 years, you should look, pretty good, And that's why a lot of women that you see in their 50s who look amazing, they look amazing. Well, some in surgery, but but if you do this, she's gonna appreciate this more when she's 50 than she does now. Trust me. When she's 50, she's gonna like right now. I look back and go, man, I'm glad I did that. It's just getting harder. It's like it's harder to get in the gym all the time, and. So I appreciate it way more now than I did when I was doing it.
Yeah, and it's an incredible process just to be able to have that information and learn that. And I love what you said earlier, Bailey, where I was talking about how my friends were asking me what comes next, and your reply was like, I kind of talked over you, but your reply,
No, I just thrown it out there.
like, it's your next goal, right? And that's
Yeah,
what
what's
you're
next?
looking forwards to, right? Like, you know what you want to work on for your next
Mhm.
goal to be that much better, to increase your living experience to the next level, right? And that's what this life is all about, is really being able to figure out the fact that you can even have this thought that you can mold your body. Most
Yes.
people don't even understand that that's a possibility, right?
I didn't think it was either, if I'm being completely honest. When I first met Idris, I was looking at that. There is no way in a million years you could have showed me that and me be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look like that. And like no chance whatsoever. No
That's
chance.
that's all of us. Bailey, you didn't make, but me and Ronnie Coleman and his wife and stuff. We went to dinner, and we would just her and Alicia are like not. They drive me nuts. But anyway.
They're great.
But I asked Ronnie. I said, Ronnie, let me ask you a question. I go, I never thought I could do this. When I first started, I couldn't see it. I said, did you? He was like, nope. This is the greatest
That's
bodybuilder.
everybody.
This is the greatest bodybuilder of all time. And he felt the same way as you felt when you started, the way I felt. So this is not something that people go into thinking. Now, there are some people who are egomaniacs and they're like, oh, I can do that. I was like, I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah.
And that's how he felt. And that's how she felt. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like this is something for superhuman people. We're just regular people, We just make a decision.
Mhm.
We make a decision.
Make it every day, every meal, every gym session. It's just a decision. And that's why too I say about the goal, because even now, but I am very much like that. I have to say, okay, what's next? Like once I get there, because I will get complacent and it's a slippery slope for me, I should say. So I just know in my head, even after that, it's like, okay, I have my couple weeks of relaxed time. Like, what's after that? Because I need that constant
goal. You need
strive. Yeah,
we
that
all
constant
need
goal.
goals. You know how people say goal setting. Well, sometimes people
Yeah.
pick goals. I mean, you want to pick attainable goals. So with her, it wasn't a contest that was the goal. It was let's get her to control her eating, to understand food, get her training, make sure she understands posture and like all making sure you're in the right position when you're lifting, make sure your whole body's involved in the lift, making sure your core is strong. Like there's a lot of stuff that you got to teach before you get to the hard stuff. So when the hard stuff comes, you're not thinking about 1,000 things. You can just move on to the next lesson because you drilled all the basics. And what what I started doing with her is letting her learn how to make diet choices. So she would be like, "Oh, I did this and I did that. Why did you do that? Blah blah blah. Cool." So she started understanding what I was teaching. Because it's really do you think it's complicated?
I think it depends how complicated you make it. I think it's all up to the person. One, what can you stand food? Like, are you okay with eating the same thing every day? If not, you need to know what you can replace. Like in the beginning, I wasn't great at just being like chicken and vegetables. I was like, well, I need to make turkey meatloaf and stuff it in a poblano pepper and blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, that's great. But then I was like, okay, the simpler, the better. Like, so I think it also just depends what kind of person you are. Like, I'm okay with eating the same thing. I'm all for routine. Like, I'm okay with that. If you're not, there's still other ways to do it. It might take a little more time, or if you don't care, I think it's really up to the person too, just depending on what they can handle.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make and that's why I don't tell people you have to eat chicken. I go, if you're going to do chicken, it has to be this much. If you're going to do turkey, this much. If you're going to do this much. So there's portion sizes that equate to the grams of protein that you need for that meal. Most people don't understand there's only but so much protein your body can assimilate at one sitting. That's why most people gain weight, because they eat more food than their body's going to actually process during that time. Instead of like she's seen me. You've gone out to eat with me. I don't eat a lot when I eat.
I'm surprised by that.
So when I go to a restaurant, I go, when they bring my meal, I usually bring the doggy bag with it. And I just put half of it in the doggy bag because I know I can't eat it all. And I'm not even going to try. I don't stuff myself. I eat till I'm content. And then I always tell people, you will be hungry again. Trust me. So,
like an hour later. So just say
once you're hungry, because then when you eat it, you're not overeating. But if you eat it all in one sitting, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about just you start to feel that's you're overeating. So I eat till I'm content. As soon as I notice I'm not really hungry anymore, I'm good.
You're good. Yeah.
And I think that's something that is a process learned, because we've talked about it before where like we've learned from our parents, like finish everything on your plate. I want to see a clean plate, right? I mean, I think we've all kind of weirdly experienced that in a slightly different way, but it is being able to realize, and this is what I love about fitness and everything that I've learned through nutrition and fitness, is just that we are beings in this world where we create the world around us. We create like the things in our life, right? We really have control over being able to mold our body, mold our futures. Yeah. And we just have to be the ones to actually start that action, start making those little things, those little habits happen to change everything in our lives. And we're the only ones who have control of that. And I think doing this whole bodybuilding thing for you, and what I'm hearing from you is you've learned that there is a way to create what you want in your life for yourself. And this is just the beginning. So I'm really excited for what this all does for you for the rest of your life. And I think you're incredible, Bailey. Congratulations on everything that you've accomplished. It is amazing. I know the hard work that you're putting in, and you deserve anything and everything you get to celebrate right now. So
thank you. That means a lot. And thank you for letting me come here and talk too. I was never expecting this. So it's very cool, that there are people that are curious about it and that want to know. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. I think it's awesome.
And I want to say this too. Bailey's story is not about this contest. A lot of times, I've had clients and some of them will be like, shut up, Idris, I know you were talking about me. So yeah, I'm talking about you. But they will go, oh, I don't want to look like that. And I was like, nobody said to look like that. I said, it's not about that. It's about what she's learning in the person that she's becoming.
Yeah.
You know, she couldn't stop drinking alcohol. And then she was like, I don't want to do that no more. And then her friends gave her a hard time for not drinking. And I was like, I told you, your friends are going to give you, they don't give you a hard time if you go home drunk, but they'll give you a hard time if you decide not to drink. For some reason, I don't get that either. But if we're going down, you're going down with us.
You're going with me. Yeah.
We all want to take the boat when we're sinking, right? We don't want anyone on the island over there. Everyone has to die with
Everybody has to drown together. Like, Leo, you're dying. I'm staying on the door. But I just watched her. I watched her go from saying she couldn't stop drinking. Then she was like, okay, what can I drink? I said, clear liquor. Then it was like, I don't want to drink at all. And then it just kept, and I was just inside, I'm like, yeah, she's getting there.
She's drink the Kool-Aid, the bodybuilding Kool-Aid.
And that's kind of what it is. And even the clients that I have that don't compete, they still go through the same emotions. It's no different. I always tell people, everything that she did to get on stage, everyone does, except people stop where they're happy. You don't have to get this lean, but you still got to do the same work. You still got to control your eating. You still got to take your meals with you. You still got to meal prep. You know what I mean? Like, none of that changes. It's just most people are going to get to a place where they look in the mirror and they go, I'm cool. Now, how do I stay here? And then we teach you how to stay there. So that's really what this is. Don't think that, you can't do anything. The only thing you can't do is the things you say you can't do. Because if you say you can't do it, you can't do it. You really can't, because you just said you can't. Okay, that means you're not going to do anything to be better at it.
Yeah.
Right. So stop using the word can't. You can say I won't. I choose not to. But
I don't want to.
But don't say you can't, because you can. And your personal goal is not someone else's; it's yours. And the thing about this, what she did, it builds mental toughness. When people do, and I'm not talking bad about it, but if you do a surgery to lean out, you don't change the way you look at food. Your relationship with food hasn't changed because you lost weight from a surgery. It's hard but when you work out, you build mental toughness because it really starts in the gym. For me, tell me if this happened for you. When you start seeing yourself improve in the gym and you get stronger in the gym, you start being tougher on yourself at the dinner table because you don't want to mess up what you're doing at the gym.
100%.
You see what I mean? So you change the way you look at things. That's what keeps the weight off you. It ain't that it's like, I just don't want to do that anymore. What do I always say, Bailey? Don't say like people, I can't eat that. I go, stop saying you can't eat that. Saying say you choose not to eat that.
Yeah.
Because now, what can you say to somebody? Because most people, you sit down, I can't eat that. Why can't you? I don't eat that way anymore.
Yes.
And if
I don't eat like that
anymore. What are they going to say? They can't say anything.
Little funny thing real quick. My little sister, we were just on vacation a couple weeks ago and she's 9. And she said, can you eat normal again? When are you going to eat normal again? Why don't you just eat normal? And I said, because I don't want to look normal. And that was the end of it. That was the end of it. She was just like, oh.
And if you have those friends that are going to test you at it, what I've learned to do is I just say, no, thank you. I don't want that, because they can't come back and be like, why can't you? Or, try to force it, right?
I don't understand that. Like when I was putting on 50, I had a friend of mine that she would measure her food every single, she would pull a scale out, put on the table, balance, zero out the plate, and put her vegetables in there till it was 20 ounces. And then she would put her meat, and she wouldn't eat a dinner mint past that. And I saw her do that, and she goes, well, you know what? And she was really tiny, 5'1". She was like, I was 250. I ain't never going there again.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm pretty sure you think this is weird. I was like, I don't think that's weird. I said, if that's what you got to do to stay happy, I said, I bet. She goes, well, a lot of people do. I go, I bet they didn't say nothing when you were 210 going up to 230. I bet they said nothing to you. But they're going to say something to you now that you're the way you want to be. But I don't know why people do that, but they do. Okay? When you're going in the wrong direction, they're high-fiving you and passing you. You ever see a person that, I stopped drinking, oh, you're going to have a drink for my birthday? What? I just told you I stopped drinking.
I just said.
So I don't know why people, feel the need to drag you into their world when you're trying to get out of a world that is not really benefiting you or serving you. So it's something that every client I have, I tell them this is probably going to happen in your circle. It's very few circles that don't do this. I happen to me, happen to you, happen to most of my clients, about 95% of them, lose friends just because they want to get healthy. Like, think about that. I'm gonna lose you as a friend because I choose not to get drunk anymore, so it's weird. It's a weird place. But if you do it for you and you do it for the right reasons, you let those people go because they're not doing you any favors.
And the good ones will stick around.
The good ones stick around. You may only have a lot less, but they're quality relationships.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and that's why I say really it changes more than just what you're doing in the gym. It changes more than your look. And this is what we keep saying through this whole show. All three of us have said this, right? And it's real. And when you come to that conclusion, when you realize that when you create the world that you want, all of a sudden the people who lift you up and help bring you to the next level will migrate towards you. And so many people are so afraid of losing certain things in their life, but there's really you're only going to lose things that you are going to eventually lose anyway. And so when you do your best and you have others that surround you and create the better environment for you, then you're going to be elevated. They're going to be elevated, and you're going to find yourself in an unstoppable mindset, unstoppable life.
Company you actually admire, company you actually want to be around. I told Bailey from the beginning, I go, Bailey, you do realize that every relationship isn't supposed to be for a lifetime. Some relationships are for a season. Some people you're going to have in your life for a couple of months, some for a moment, some for 5 years. And a lot of people tend to take two-year relationships and drag them past their expiration date. And we do that a lot with people. We keep people around way longer than we should. But there's only like a tree. A tree has millions of leaves, thousands of little branches, hundreds of thick branches, and only a few roots, right? Only a few roots. The roots are the ones that ain't going nowhere forever. The leaves, they fall off every season. They fall to the ground and then new ones grow. That's most of the people we meet. They're leaves. They're leaves. And then it's weak branches where you think it's a strong branch until something happens, then you find out they weren't really there for you. So those are going to break too. And then you get to the thicker stuff. So I think it teaches you a lot of life lessons doing what you just did.
Yeah.
A lot of life lessons.
Very
I take every moment as a learning lesson. I tell it anytime I'm like, oh God, here we go.
It definitely was. And just to see your progress from all the conversations we had has been amazing. But thank you guys both for being on today. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get to have another chat down the road and see where your progress has taken you. And thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you for having us again.
Awesome. Well, you guys have an amazing weekend, and send me good vibes because I am working towards my goal, and it's my birthday for my 40th birthday is the 30th, so it's coming up really fast. I'm excited.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. So hopefully I'm going to set up a photo shoot so that I can actually photograph kind of what I've done and just be able to share that. And
that's your competition. That's your
Love that.
Exactly.
That's for me. That's for me. And I want to keep it at that spot for as long as I can or forever.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. You have a wonderful weekend, and I will see everybody next week. But
have a good weekend, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yes. See ya.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Okay, you guys, this was a really fun conversation. Such an amazing group to be able to have that conversation with. There's so much that I learned from this, and the things that I've thought about doing a competition myself, but just being able to have that information and understand what we're capable of, even when we don't understand what we are capable of in the beginning. But thank you so much, you guys. You guys have a wonderful weekend. See ya.